Well, good morning, y'all. I'm about to tell you about something very frustrating, to say the least, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do about it. So I've been having issues with the two dogs digging. I realize they're still puppies, but nonetheless, it is very frustrating when they're digging in areas that they don't need to be digging in. One is way back there under that plum tree. Hattie Mae started that a long time ago, where she likes to dig up holes in the dirt and then lays down in the shade in the afternoon, which I have kind of learned, hey, it's in the ground, it's in the shade. Okay, there's one other spot that they were digging up in, same thing. I'm like, you know what, I'm just not gonna plant here. But I have a major problem when not only did we come, y'all saw all of these raised beds where we put cardboard down and extra feed sacks, put them down and put lots of bark on top of it to help with the grass suppression. They're constantly digging in this, but here's my major problem. They've already done this to my sweet potato beds, and if you can't see how deep that is, those are very deep holes. So they keep coming in this bed and digging holes. They had this side dug up, and I kind of refilled it in, and then they just recently done this. And if that's not bad enough, then they got over into the second bed, and you can see how they're just coming through here. They're destroying, I don't even know what they're after. They're just destroying all of the work that we've done. Then they come in and dug in a couple of other places right here. I refilled those in the best I could. Then they got over here in my squash and dug that area, which is very frustrating because I just replanted some of this squash. So it was literally just starting to kind of get up, and they broke the whole top half of one squash plant off. I don't even know if that's going to come back, but I planted again because I had such a hard time with the squash bugs and the vine borers. And if that wasn't enough, then they got over here, and all of these were my carrots, all of this section right here. And you can see I tried to fix some of it yesterday. They've dug up portions of my carrots. I mean, look at this right here. I mean, seriously. So I'm beyond frustrated. Yesterday when I was out here trying to fix some of it, Romeo ran to this area, and I picked him up and put him in that bed, and I scolded him. But I actually don't know if it's him or Juliet that's actually jumping into the beds, or both of them. I really don't know. But I need to find out who's doing it, about what time they're doing it, and if it's both of them or what the deal is. So I'm going to show y'all what I'm about to do so we can get this problem settled. Okay, so here is my plan. Here's a game camera that we've had up in the closet. So I am going to hook it to the front side of this column and point it directly down there where the beds are. If y'all can see, that's where the beds are. Now this thing basically just take pictures anytime there's any motion. I've actually already turned it on, and it's got like a card in there. I will come out here and get the card in a day or two and look at that card and see who's getting in the bed, when they're getting in the bed, and then I will have to enforce some type of disciplinary action with the dogs because they are destroying my bed. They're destroying that area, and it's very, very frustrating because I've worked really hard to build that area up. I put lots of good compost in there. I'm truly trying to work that soil and build that soil up, because when we actually bought that soil to fill in those beds, it was of very poor quality. So I've really been trying to work that up, and for them to get in there and destroy what I already have. So like, for example, my carrots that were in there, I was leaving those for a 2-year period of time. I'll pull up a couple every now and then just for us to eat on, but I really wanted those to go to seed because they were heirloom variety. They grew really well. And you can do that. You can leave carrots in the ground for 2 years and then they will give you seeds. And that's really what my goal was, to let all of those go to seed. And they have basically destroyed the tops. I'm hoping that come this spring that hopefully they're going to grow back. Those tops are going to grow back, and hopefully they'll give me some more seeds. But for now, I've got to try to do what I can to protect my beds. So we're going to set the camera up, and I'm going to see what I can catch on the camera. And once I get the card out and get into the computer and see who's doing it, or if they're both doing it, whatever, then I can take both of them to the bed and discipline them for getting in the bed and not only destroying my compost, they're basically putting the soil on the bark, which means the grass is going to regrow there. So I'm really irritated about that. And they're destroying the bark that was already there. They're just scratching it all back to the ground. Stuff that I already have planted, they're disturbing, they're digging up, and that really, really makes me mad. So I'm just gonna put this up. We'll see. I'll pull you guys back out and show you what I get in the next day or two. We've just really gotta get this, find out who it is. We gotta figure this out. All right, I have it on there. I have it on. It should take pictures when it picks up motion. See, there it goes. It just took a picture. The light's flashing. So when they get down there and get to digging, I'm hoping that it's going to get a picture of them, and then I can proceed from there. I have some butter that finished up this morning, and I'm going to show y'all basically how I process my butter. So it's already made, and I just need to get the buttermilk off of it. Now this little contraption right here has been through it. It's actually, if you see, it's cracked and broke. It has been through it, but it's a couple of years old. I used to make my butter in an electric mixer and was great, but it didn't know when to turn off. It didn't catch any pressure. This actually does catch pressure, and when the butter gets too tight, when it's butter, the thing will go off. My electric mixer would not do that. Problem was the butter would continue to slosh in the mixer with the buttermilk. And if you can picture like a big glob of butter just going around in circles, yeah, it would get real messy real fast. And I did that for a couple of years, but when I come across that electric churn on eBay is actually where I picked it up from. I thought, you know what, this would be a wonderful Christmas present for me. Would make my life a little bit easier. So that was a Christmas present several years ago. But when my butter is done, what I do is basically just get like a little strainer, and then I get a bigger bowl, and it's real easy to do. And because I don't want to waste my buttermilk, especially now that our cows are getting in their season where we will stop milking and give them a rest period for about 2 to 2.5 months while they get ready to deliver. We won't be milking. I need all of the milk I can get. There's only so much regular milk that I can freeze because obviously we're still drinking on that milk, but I keep all of my whey and all of my buttermilk and put it over in the freezer. Our cows got off a little bit this time. One bred back when she was supposed to. One was much delayed. She was actually our newest. We picked her up from a dairy farm, and she's a great cow and everything, don't get me wrong, but she's just not the line of genetics that was born and raised here. So anyway, she's off a little bit. She did not get bred back when Josie got bred back. So we are still going to be milking her. So we'll have a little bit of fresh milk coming in. But then again, when we have to stop milking her, we will go through a season where we will not be milking at all. Now, what I do while we're not milking and I need milk to cook with, well, that's where this buttermilk comes in place. That is where our whey, extra whey, comes in place when I'm making things like yogurt and cheese, and I have the whey. I freeze all of that as well. All of that comes out. I just put them in. I found this to be the easiest way to, I don't love plastic, I'm just gonna be honest with you, but when you're storing lots and lots and lots of milk in the freezer, I have found that the easiest way to do it is pour it in these bags, about a half gallon, and you wanna lay them flat. Obviously, I've labeled it buttermilk because I don't want to mix up milk and buttermilk, and just by looking at it when it's frozen would obviously be very hard to tell. So I also label my milk. And again, like I said, this milk here and all of the whey I pull out to do things like make biscuits or bread puddings or whatever it is that I'm cooking that requires milk. These things substitute for that, and it's obviously not going to waste, so that's a wonderful thing. And I'm not having to put as much of our fresh milk back, because I can substitute these things for when I'm cooking and have, of course, the fresh milk that I have frozen for us to drink. The other thing I want to do when I am finishing up processing my butter, you guys have seen me can butter. If you haven't, y'all go back and check that video out. It's a great video with lots of information, and it's actually really easy to do. And to be honest with you, I actually prefer butter that has been canned over made fresh and stuck in the refrigerator, because it is a lot more soft, and I actually prefer that, especially when I'm cooking and I need soft butter for cookies or whatever. I can just go get it right off the shelf, and it's super soft and it's absolutely perfect. So I actually prefer canned butter. It's just a little bit of a process to obviously go through the steps of canning it. But if y'all haven't seen that video and you're interested in that video, y'all be sure to go check it out. I have a whole video on just canning butter. But what I'm doing right now is just using really cold water, and my goal is to basically wash the buttermilk out of the butter. So I'm gonna just let water run over it until it's clean and there's no more milk coming off of it. My water's clean, and it is right now, there's no more white tinged coming out. So the last step really that I need to do with my butter is I'm just going to squeeze this butter out. And what I mean by that is because now it has water in it. So I'm just gonna take this butter by the handfuls, and I'm just kind of pressing it, and water drips out. And then I will turn it and then press it again. So it's kind of like kneading dough, but you're kneading butter. It's kind of the same process. I'm basically just taking it and just squeezing it in a bunch of different directions, and the water comes out. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, doing homemade butter, I've never ever been able to get every drop of water out, and that's okay. I know as long as it doesn't sit for months that it will be fine, and I promise you here, butter does not make it for months. In the refrigerator, it gets used up really, really fast. So I don't really have to worry about my butter spoiling, but I suppose if you were gonna make it and leave it sitting in the refrigerator for a long period of time, obviously you would want to get as much water out as possible. And I do that, but it does seem nearly impossible to me to get every drop of it out. And pretty much when I have it to the point where I can just press it and turn it, and I'm not just getting water just oozing out, I call it done. I do all of this to the butter, and then I wipe it in wax paper and put it right over into the refrigerator. I'm also meal prepping again because we're going on a surprise trip to the beach. But y'all be quiet and don't tell the kids. Aiden and Harley know, but the little kids don't know. I'm having to make a couple of things today. I'm going to stick in the freezer so that when we leave for our trip, breakfast and lunch will pretty much be taken care of. There'll be a couple of nights that we kind of go out and just kind of kick our shoes off and enjoy. We don't get to do it very often, so I am excited about that. But y'all be quiet, don't tell them. For right now, I'm just going to roll out some cinnamon rolls. They're going to go over in the freezer. I think I'm pretty well caught up with inside chores. So now I have to go out, and I'm gonna go ahead and clear out my high tunnel. I've had soybeans planted in there that were some extra beans that we had. They've been in there for a long while. They've grown, they're really big. They look really nice. Some of them actually are starting to die off because they just really needed to be picked. But today's the first day that I've been able to say, okay, I'm going out to stop and do this. So I'm going out there now to do that. It is overcast right now, but I have a feeling I'm gonna be red-faced here just shortly. But I've got to get these up, especially before our trip. I'm gonna try to catch up on as much outside stuff as I can. because you guys know anytime you go anywhere, there's a lot of chores that just have to be done. It's like a rat race before and a rat race after. So yes, they are definitely ready. I have to get these up. Y'all can see, not only do they really need water, but they're just really starting to die off. They've made some really beautiful edamame, and we are going to be prepping this area really soon for our fall planting. So I really need to get this cleaned out. Some of these are just absolutely loaded down. Look at all of these. They're just absolutely gorgeous. I'm just going to get on those. I have 3 rows of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, about 25 to 30 plants. So I've got to get these done. I'm just gonna knock them out. I brought a little bowl out here, but to be completely honest with you, I don't know if this little bowl is gonna hold them all. This is actually way more on the plants than when I looked last time. So these things are just loaded down. And I know people have mixed feelings about soybeans and whatnot. I do too as well. I will say I would much rather have my soybeans, we just steam them, add some salt, and eat them like that. There is no process, no extra anything that's done to our soybeans. And sometimes, just being honest with you, this is a heart to heart from me to you. I think a lot of times where we go wrong in the food industry is by growing a good crop, and then we take it, and whether it's heating it up or manipulation from whatever process the food goes through, and we're changing chemical compounds that are natural in food, and we're altering them. Oh, there's Mr. Sun. We're altering the food, the chemical structure, the makeup, the natural state of the food. And those are the things that our bodies does not like. Those are the things that when we put in our body's like, this is not normal, it's not natural. And it actually messes with our bodies because we're putting things that have been processed and manipulated into our bodies. So anyway, that's just a little spiel from me. None of that will be done to our beans here. They will literally just come straight off the vine. I will wash them, put them in the freezer. When we get ready to eat these, I will do no more than put the whole shell, bean, and everything over into a steam pot, add some salt, and we will take them out of the pods and eat them. Without further ado, I must get started. We've got to knock this chore out. It has been something I have been dreading just a little bit, because I feel no wind. I can see the wind blowing outside of the high tunnel, but I feel no wind in here. And it is the middle of the day. Unfortunately, we had to do school, so it's the middle of the day in August in Mississippi with no wind. So I'm about to get my sweat on, y'all. Well, not that that wasn't fun and all, but I finally got done. I have taken out everything. I have 3 big piles. So this is my plan right now. I have a couple that have seed pods on them. They've completely died back. I'm just going to collect those seeds so that we can replant next year. Then I'm going to come through and collect all my big piles, put them in the back of the Ranger. I'm going to throw those over in the pig pen. We've got cross country tonight, so if I have time, I'm going to get all the ones that I've gotten picked, washed. I probably have at least 5-gallon buckets. I'll show y'all what I have gathered here in just a little while. It is super, super hot, but I'm so glad to have this done. All of this is cleaned out. Now, I will not replant anything in here right now. I'm going to get it prepped. I'm going to let it rest until it is time for fall planting, which is just a couple of weeks away. But for right now, nothing immediately. We'll go back in here. We just have to, of course, you can see I've got some work to clean up on a mess. I'm not sure exactly how much I'll get this cleaned up. I will probably come through here and blow, or get Colby or Aiden one to blow some of this other stuff, like you see grass that has grown in my holes. All of that stuff has got to be cleaned up too, but we'll take our win for today. All of this got knocked out. I can't wait to show y'all what all I harvested, but for right now, I got to get cleaned up. Okay, y'all, finished watering the greenhouse, got the eggs. Hopefully I can cool off a little bit before we go to cross country. So this is my final harvest. This is a pretty big bucket. This is a pretty big bucket. These two are a little bit smaller, but nonetheless, this is probably 5 gallons. What do you think, Colby? 5 gallons, maybe a little more?
What, total?
Yeah.
No, total. This is a 3 gallon, 2 gallons. That's 5 gallons. So you probably have about 6 and a half, 7 gallons.
So really, really nice harvest today. It's getting to be that time where summer finishes out, fall starting. I'll have a really good video coming up talking about fall planting, things that you should plant, why you should plant them. So y'all stay tuned for that video, and hope y'all enjoyed this one. Happy homesteading, y'all.